so now we'll continue on working with the function notation. All right, it's a new language. Math is a language, and we're learning what all these symbols mean. So we have f of 2, so that means x equals 2, right? X equals 2. All right, and the question is, what is y going to be? All right, the whole thing is y. So when x is equal to 2, 1, 2, what value is y? Well, when x is 2, y is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Y is negative 5. Okay, and then now for number 2, it says x is negative 3. And so when x is negative 3, 1, 2, 3, right, negative 3, what is the y value? Well, I'm not going up or down, right? This is my y-axis, so that would be 0. All right, now here we're given, we don't know x, right? X is a question mark. We have no idea what's going in, but we do know what comes out, right? We do know y equals 5. So I'm going to come over here, and I'm looking at my y-axis, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Y is equal to 5, so that's this point right here. When y, this has a y coordinate of 5, well, what's the x, what's the x coordinate there? Well, let's see. If we go down to the x-axis, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. X was 8. Okay, and then again on number 4, we don't know what x is. Okay, you have to really be careful when you're reading what you're given. X, we don't know. Okay, that is a question mark, but we do know what y is. Y equals negative 3. So y is negative 3, so I go to my graph, 1, 2, 3, so this is negative 3. All right, so actually all these points here have y coordinate of negative 3. The question is, what is the x? What are the x values? So let's see. To get to this guy, I go on the x. This is my x-axis. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4. I go negative 4. All right. So x can be negative 4. X can be 0. Right. And it's kind of in the middle, right? So that would be 1, 2, 3 and a half, 3.5. Okay, so I can have 3 different x values, and they all give me the same value of negative 3. Okay, so the x is not repeating. Y can repeat. Okay, that is a function. It's okay to have all these negative y's. Let's see, this was 0, negative 3, and this was 3.5. All right, because vertical line test. All right, if I put in a negative 4, I know I'm going to get a negative 3 out. If I put in a 0, I know I'm going to get a negative 3. If I put in a 3.5, I know I'm going to get a negative 3. So that is a function. Okay, and I could say vertical line test. How do I know? And also the x's don't repeat. Right, I have 3 different x's. That is okay. All right. So now we're just practicing. All right. So try it. Put this on pause. Try it, and then check your answer. with the video. So this is saying m goes into the video for x, so x equals m. So everywhere I see an x, I'm going to put in an m, and that's the end of that. That's all that means. Number 2, g of x, and what's going in is 4. All right, I know that x is equal to 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This point here has an x value of 4. Well, what's the y value? Right, this is my y-axis. If I go over here, the y value is 0. So g of 4 is equal to 0. If 4 goes in, 0 comes out. All right, my x value is 4, y value is 0. Number 3. Okay, we've got ordered pairs. So h of 5. So 5 is my x value. All right, so I'm looking, does this have an x value of 5? No. X value of 5? No. X value of 5? Yes. Okay, so that means when x is 5, y, right, x is negative 3. Okay, remember this whole thing, h of 5, that also means y. So y equals negative 3. Is that a 5? No. Alright. So number 4 says what is the range of the function? So I'm trying to find the y's. I'm given the domain, so these are my x's. Alright, so I'm just going to substitute in for the x's. So f of, instead of x, I'm going to put in negative 1 equals, and then I'm just going to substitute, oops, 2 times negative 1, all right? So negative 3, negative 2, that's negative 5. So negative 1 goes in, negative 5 comes out. And you just do that 4 times. So f of 0 equals negative 3 plus 2 times 0, which is negative 3. F of 3, all right? We're just writing everything the same. Well, this is the function f. And we're replacing the x with what we're given. Alright, so negative 3 plus 6 is 3. And then I'll do f of 5 is going to be negative 3 plus 2 times 5. And so that would be 7. Alright, and then number 5. Okay, number 5, now we're given the range. All right, and we're supposed to find the domain. So we're trying to figure out what x is. So you always substitute, all right? Substitute what you're given. All right, if I'm given the range, I substitute for the range. So g of x is 11. So instead of g of x, I'm going to write 11 equals 5 minus 3x, and I'll just solve for x. Get the x by itself. Minus 5. Remember, this minus goes with the 3, not the 5. So I'm going to subtract 5. I get 6 equals a negative 3x. Divide by negative 3. Divide by negative 3. So I get x equals negative 2. And then for number 6, I know h of x is 2, so that's y equals 2. Alright, so I know that y, alright, this is y is 2. What's the value of x there? Well, that would be that point, and the value of x there is 0. So when x is 0, y is 2. And you can see that point there. All right, and then the next one, we have ordered pairs. And again, I know y is equal to 3. X is a question mark, right? They're asking me what is x. So I'm looking at all the y's. I'm looking at what it's like you're a detective. You start with what you're given. So this is a 3, right? Y is equal to 3, and so x is 5. Are there any other ones? No. And then number 8, it says, what is the domain of the function? So we're looking for x, we're solving for x. And we're given that the range is this. All right, so these are all my different y values. So remember, this is y equals x squared minus 3. So I'm going to substitute in for y. All right, and so I get, I'll start with 4, so that would be 4 equals x squared minus 3. All right, I'm given y, so that's what I'm going to put in. Then I just solve using my properties, plus 3, so I get 7 equals x squared. And then to get, remember we always do the inverse. The inverse of x squared is the square root. So I'm going to square root both sides, and I get x equals the square root of 7. Right? The thing is, if you have something to the second power, you always have 2 answers. So it's plus or minus that square root. All right? Because if you square something, if you square a negative, it's positive. So x can be positive or negative. It's kind of like with the absolute value. We have 2 answers. If you have a quadratic, you always have 2 answers. So now we have, so that's that one. Now y is equal to 0. So I'm going to put 0 equals x squared minus 3. I'm substituting in for what I'm given. So now I'm going to go ahead and add 3 to both sides. So I get x squared equals 3. Right, and then the inverse of square is a square root, so I'm going to square root both sides, so I get x equals the square root of 3. But remember, you have 2 answers. X could be positive or x could be negative. Okay. And so now that's that, and then now I'll put in negative 2. So negative 2 equals x squared minus 3. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and add 3 to both sides. So I get x squared equals 1. Okay, do the inverse. X equals 1. Right? But remember, if it's squared, it could be positive or negative under there. Oops, how did I put my negative like that? X equals 1. Square root of 1 is 1. But since x is going to be squared, you have 2 answers. Positive 1 or negative 1. Okay, excellent. Good job. Now we're talking about function families. So I'll go ahead and stop this there.